So welcome to the top 30 selections for Photo of the Year. As we did for Lightning Photo of the Year, we're going to highlight some images in here. The highlighting, again, does not mean that these are the ones that are going to make it to the finalists, but just ones we want to talk about for whatever reason. And then once we get to the finalists, we'll be doing more detailed discussions on each image that makes it. Because we added another category this year with the solar storm, and we've got a lot of photos. And we also have a lot of like jobs and stuff to do. So we have work. But I really love the entries we got here. There's some really interesting, unique shots this year. Just a lot of different kind of variety and different locations. And so Jennifer, I'm just going to let you, if you want to talk about a couple, which ones might stand out to you? Or
this is so much fun. There are so many great shots. Congratulations to everyone who entered and made it to the top 30, guys. These are really, really great. I keep coming back around to number 27. I'd love to just look at it and talk about it. I just think the tones, it's gnarly, it's foreboding. I feel like, when part of your storm is a little obstructed, Skip Talbot always talks about this, it makes it even scarier feeling. But the framing, I really appreciate the composition here. So many fun things to talk about with this image. I really love it.
Yeah, I am, it's kind of funny because I am a stickler for trying to get high ground. I don't like my storm being hidden behind a mountain, but in this instance, because of the foreground and the composing of the shot, it's perfect. Like the fact that it's kind of hidden, it feels like it's a looming danger on the horizon that it's not fully seen yet. I mean, you obviously see most of it, but it's like it's still kind of in the distance because it's being hidden a little bit, and the softness of the grass or the wheat is just amazing.
Yeah, it really gives you a feeling, and impact doesn't always have to be like, look at this really strong and contrast and color craziness. It can also just come in a different form, and I feel like this really gives you a feeling. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree with this because a great photograph don't necessarily means that it has the best technique, the best lighting and stuff. If it transports you of this feeling, what we are talking about, it's a great picture too. And I think the viewer is like he's hiding from the storm a bit in front of the hilly terrain, and the leading lines in the foreground lets the view towards the storm, and it's a bit hidden, a bit secret there. And yeah, the feeling which this image transports is so powerful, in my opinion.
I always end up going back to talking about, I think because I'd love to retire someday and have a house somewhere like this where I could just watch storms and not have to chase them someday. And I can imagine that this is, the back porch of a farmhouse and I feel like this was Nebraska. I can't remember. And maybe not though, those trees, it feels more like it could be more like Wyoming or Montana, but regardless, like that's what I feel like. It's like this kind of peaceful, like sitting on a back porch watching this roll across my land, and it's just another day in June or May. And yeah, I really like that you highlighted that one. That's really great. Dennis, what about you?
It's a tough one. There are so many, and I will go with another one first, I think. It's for 11, just because it's totally different.
Yeah.
You all guys know it's such a big problem for us to deal with storms and foreground.
Yeah.
The first image previous was a good example how you can handle this. This is another example, but you have so many things in here which are so it's like it was placed there for this shot almost. It's like a postcard. Welcome to, I don't know where it's is it Canada, Saskatchewan or so, or is it in the Dakotas? I don't know, but it's just like a postcard for sending greetings to home. Yeah, welcome to Tornado Alley or so. And, but for real, I don't know. I like the contrast with the bright red barn and the mean supercell and the backlit supercell, and the way the fence is integrated in the picture, because everything seems to placed in the right place into the picture, and the storm is just rolling into the scene. So I don't know. I could look at it for hours or so.
Yes.
It's a very, very interesting picture.
Sorry, Dennis, I was not.
You're fine. What do you think?
But I totally agree. In terms of being able to look at it for hours, you really know you have a successful image when the eye is just constantly going back and forth across the image in a journey, looking at all of these elements, finding out more and more about the shot. So there's so many things to look at. I don't feel like these elements are competing with one another. I feel like it's very harmonious, and the foreground elements obscuring parts of the storm, but you really get a sense of the scale of the storm. And I think that's part of why it's so successful as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you both are saying. It's a shot that I think taught me something, that when I'm out there again, we all have our tendencies, we all have our styles, but we're trying to find open ground, or we're trying to find foreground. Like, we're all trying to do different things. And my dogs right now are trying to bark at something. But I would tend to avoid something like this, a fence on the left edge of my frame or something like that I feel is distracting. Or looking at that storm, I want to capture the whole storm. There's like a chunk of it to the left. But the fact of the matter is, this draws your eye into the scene. It's a juxtaposition of farmland and objects in front of a massive storm. And honestly, the fact that this supercell is so structured makes it 1,000 times better. If it had just been like a regular storm, it wouldn't have had the impact as it looks like a flying saucer mothership flying over this land. And this was Mound City, South Dakota, I think. So, so it wasn't Canada, but it was South Dakota. So, agree. And that red does stand out. But I love that old car too. So great. Yeah. So great. I'm just gonna talk about. I mean, we could talk about the volcano one. I do have a feeling that we'd end up talking about that one again later. But I don't know. We may talk about this one too. This is the only blue jet, although it looks purple, blue jet that we have seen entered in the contest. And the number of people that ever capture one of these on camera is probably like on one hand, or that we would. Now, maybe we won't know about someone catching it because they just don't see it. Maybe they decided not to post it on social media, but capturing a blue jet like this is insane. And so with a car in the foreground, like actually going crazy with that, just unbelievable.
Yeah, I appreciate the nod to some storytelling here. Like, it's not just the lightning, it's not just the blue jet, the stars, but the car in the front intentionally being framed, it does tell a bit of that story, which I do appreciate as well.
It's like the storm left the car like this.
Right, so, exactly. Yeah. Like, it's beautiful and spectacular, but it's also, it can cause some damage. So
yeah.
I don't have enough patience usually to shoot a storm. I do like the time lapse from a distance like this if I have it, but I've never seen, something like that just sneak out the top. So congrats to that person for snagging that, because I mean, that is just, that's one of those bucket list dream shots that you really want to get. So anybody else got one they want to talk about?
I can't stop looking at number 24.
Yes.
I mean, anytime you get structure like that, it's a magical treat. But then just to have just enough clearing and just enough backlight to get that tornado in there. This is another image where my eye goes back and forth and up and down the slopes and the lines, and I love the tone and the light. So lots of really nice things happening here.
Yeah, the color palette of this one is really pleasing to me, with like the brown tones with the wheat, and the dustiness I think is probably in the air. But I don't know, I've gotten some shots, we've all been chasing and we've seen tornadoes under storms, but to get this kind of bell shape above a tornado and have it all in one shot is spectacular. And also, I was home this day and didn't chase this one day, and my God, all I can think about is what a time lapse would look like with this thing, and it's spectacular. So it's a wonderful capture, because it's kind of hard to get these kind of shots.
This one hurts. I choose the wrong target at this day.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was north. So
man.
Yeah, and it was too late to drop plows. The roads were blocked, too big hail. I didn't make it through in time. So
man.
And in the evening, I saw the shots, and okay. Every year, one day.
Yeah.
It has to be this pain. So now, this shot is a dream shot for me. I am a structure guy, and if there's a tornado underneath it, I take it, and yeah. For in my opinion, the only thing which will make this picture better is if it were shot maybe an hour later when the sun is a bit lower. Because the lighting would be insane on this one. It's very good now, but then it would be, yeah.
I hear you. I do love the tones and like the softness of it too. It's just, that sucks. And it's funny because you chose the wrong target and I chose the wrong target, which was my home, to take one day off to like go see the family and then fly back out or something.
But that's never be the wrong target.
Never. And it's not just that you missed a tornado, but I think it was like on the ground for what, like almost an hour or something. And
not long enough.
So hurtful. Oh my gosh. Storm chasing. Why do we do it? I think I wanted to highlight, I just thought this one was unique. It's not like the most impactful in your face, storm photo where what we just looked at, but I love the focus and the light that's on this wheat. Like the light on it is spectacular. And I'm just, when Jennifer does a lot of portrait work too. I know you do a lot of studio stuff, but once you start dealing with light and maybe shooting, kind of outdoor sunset kind of portraits, and then you see it everywhere. And so for me, seeing light like this on wheat is just, it warms me up, and it's like a different kind of feeling. And I like the fact that the focus is there, and the rainbow and the storm is soft from the bokeh or whatever, from where you focused. And it's a different shot than we usually see. And I really like that.
Definitely. Shooting weddings for 10 years. I'm retired now, but
that's right,
you can't stop seeing spots to put brides and grooms everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
No
absolutely. So, Dennis was talking about that later light. This is what he was talking about. And, the focus was very intentional. I appreciate the intentionality here. Someone took the time, thought outside the box a little creativity. So yeah, I appreciate that you brought this up so we could talk about it.
Yeah. And it's kind of a little lucky too, that I don't know what the shutter speed. Oh, so it was at 1/60th and ISO 1250. So they tried to get a faster shutter speed than maybe you normally get with this light. But the fact that they're not moving crazy and really blurred, but they're really sharp, is what I really also like about it. I mean, and it's hard to get that out there, to get after a storm rolls through. There's usually some kind of wind behind it. So to get them kind of steady, maybe they took some extra time to let the wind kind of die down and then shoot it, and then it got crazy again or whatever. But it's just nice that they're kind of nice and sharp.
Absolutely.
I'll keep doing that. Dennis, you got one more?
I think we need to talk about number 3.
Number 3.
We
are going to talk about
I have it pulled up right here, actually.
God.
In my opinion, one of the craziest pictures I've seen in recent years.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole power of Mother Earth, I think.
Yeah.
And it's so well done here. So it's crazy. The darkness on the top, lightning, volcano stuff, and orange tones. Yeah, it's looked like fantasy to me. It's not real.
It's like Mordor.
Yeah,
Mordor.
But if you imagine it is real, it's blows my mind.
Yeah. And there's snow, like the fact that you go with like the lava and the volcano erupting, and then there's snow around the top, which is also just a weird opposites thing.
That's true. I really like the layering too, like the way that it was framed, the way the light interacts with the foreground and background elements. Just it draws your attention. It focuses it very intensely. But I didn't even think about the snow part of it. You're so right.
It's so weird.
And the tones are reflecting on the snow.
Yeah.
And it adds so much to the scene. It's not only the snow itself, the reflecting of the orange colors. So
and the fact that what's also kind of weird is you might, and we haven't seen the raw file. Depending on how far this photo makes it, we'll get raws submitted for finalists. But the red glow and then the lightning is really blue. I have to think that shooting in this kind of scene is really hard, because if the orange glow is only reaching a certain part of the clouds, and the white balance is going to be different there than if the lightning goes away from it and hits these other clouds. We're trying to balance everything from being too cold or too warm all in the same photo. It's got to be tough to manage. So it probably did, lightning probably did get really like in this blue area up here, while the rest of the image was a little bit more warm. So just got to be real tough. But I really don't care how tough it was. I wish I was there. Look at this. Oh boy. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Some of the kind of bucket list shots that we've gotten this year. We still have this Dead Horse Point one. That's kind of like a rare sight to see a supercell there. This blue jet, the volcano. Like, there's a lot of interesting kind of bucket list shots here. Jennifer, you got anything you want to close us out on? Any last image that you really liked?
Maybe we should talk about number 23.
23.
Yeah. I think this image is really special because of its tone and feeling and depth. I love how deep my eye wants to just travel on and on and on, all the way inside the middle of this image. There are a few technical challenges. The bolt's blown out a bit, and maybe the vignetting's a little heavy, and there might be a slight tilt. But like all of those things aside, I really appreciate this image, and a lot of the just the detail, especially in that center of the image, really pleases me. So I think it's a good one to chat about.
Yeah, I agree with this. I think the foreground is so well done from the perspective. You have this rolling hill in the middle of the image, but in the immediate foreground, the wave from the field is going. It's just similar to the midtones, but it's just in the foreground, and it adds so much to the 3D look of the image. And the lightning bolt on the other side is on the edge of the hill, and it's like you are standing in the scene. it's not the best structured storm by itself, but the storm adds so much mood to the scenery. So everything plays very well together here, I think.
Yeah, I was trying to decide if I thought maybe it should be cropped in from the right a little bit more, but
Maybe a bit.
Maybe just a tad. But I do think that this part of the bolt, like kind of wiggling around, and is really cool. And the fact that if we were there, it looks like this bolt kind of came out of the storm and went over their heads because like the foreground is really lit up. It's got to be, that must have been really fun being like, oh my gosh, it's right over our head, even though the storm is kind of in the distance. What's really funny, at least for me, is this little house here. And maybe it's because I live in desert in Phoenix, but this house really makes the image even better for me for some reason, because it's the trees and landscape are really cool. And what you pointed out, Dennis, about these rolling vines or whatever are really cool. But I just love that this house standing out here and the pointed roofs. It's just, and I do love the tone. And I know this photographer has entered our contest probably every year, and I've come to like kind of recognize their style, which is just a little bit more muted colors, muted tones, vignetting, and so I have learned to kind of like, I really like this style. So I do love the tones and all that, everything you guys said exactly. So
yeah, that's my favorite part of the country to chase in France. I think it's France. I'm pretty sure it's France.
Yeah.
It's not so far away from me, maybe 4 hours or so, but I don't have the time. I might need to work. And we are waiting the whole year, so we have free time, and there's a good setup in Eastern France, and go for it. So yeah, and I know why. Every year I see images from there, and I think it's worth it every time.
Yeah. Well, didn't our inaugural contest or the first year or two, we had a lightning photo of the year was from Champagne, France.
Yep, I remember.
So yeah. So well, those are our selections for the top 30. Again, we talked about just some we liked. It doesn't mean anything about who's going to make it or to the top 10 or not, but good luck to everybody who made it this far. We got a lot of voting and dissecting to do, and we will be posting all those within the next week.